Smackdown has gone retro, and so have I. On this week's edition of the Smack Attack, plenty to get into and talk about. Money James McIver alongside my partner in crime, John Enright. How we doing, my man? Hello from 1967. Woohoo!
You sound like it. I mean, Jesus Christ.
I feel like
it. Oh
my
God. Yeah. No. Doing good. I mean, it's last night was good. I mean, throwback night. It felt good. Yeah. Felt nostalgic. Felt like back when I was enjoying wrestling a little bit, and then you had to watch the show.
Well, I don't know. I quite liked the show. I quite enjoyed it for what it was. You know, it wasn't a bad show at all. I quite enjoyed it.
It
some
was
good
all
matches,
right.
Some good tie-ups. You know, it was fun. Although I do take some umbrage with some of the things. Hang on, I'm going to fix this microphone because I think people start mooring at me on the chat right out the gate. So I'm going to save myself. Oh no, is it stuck on this? Is it actually stuck on this? What the actual fuck's going on? All right, maybe I'm stuck on this. Okay, never mind. I will get back to normal eventually.
Oh, there you go.
Am I back to normal?
Yeah, you're back to normal.
Okay, right. I'll put it like that. There we go. Hopefully it sounds okay. If I sound okay, tell me, please. Don't let me sound like an arsehole on global platforms.
I'll make you sound like.
I'm sure you will.
I can see. I have my computer back, so look, I'm in my office. I'm excited. I'm sure I sound better.
Yeah.
And I look better.
You're looking more HD than I am.
Right after this.
You're looking more HD than I am.
Well,
Bandwidth's loving it.
That's because my camera in my laptop is awesome and kicks ass on my computer. But yeah, like I.
Yeah.
That's why I'm kind of dressed a little bit nicer too. So it's a 2-hour drive for me to get across the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex to go to the venue in the wedding, which I think for you puts you in another country. So,
yes.
200
miles.
No, it's 122 miles one way.
Oh, so that would get us as far as Carlisle. No, actually, it would get... No, it would be Carlisle. Yeah, it'd get me as far as Carlisle, so just before England. You'll get me.
Okay. But because of it's going through the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, it's 2 hours plus a little bit, give or take a few minutes here or there because of traffic,
Right.
So I'm looking forward to that though. It should be a fun wedding. They always are. So this one, the bride contacted me this week and she had a reading from Captain Corelli's mandolin that she wanted in the wedding as a surprise to the husband or her soon to be husband. And so that's going to be fun to be able to incorporate that into the wedding. So I like doing stuff like that.
Yeah,
so,
you're you're total like machine. Like you do everything. Like you're doing like your normal work, like your community work, and then you're doing like the charity stuff. Then you're like running weddings and stuff, man. Like you're fucking running the world. And like that's before like the stuff that's coming up that apparently has been like stooged off. I'm not stooging shit. I'm not a grass.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Whoever stood. I don't. Well, someone like Hammy Media Group put a tweet out saying something got stooged off, and I'm like, who's the grass? Who's the grass out of the bunches? Right, you're all snakes in the grass if you're coming out with that. So none of your nonsense. No telling.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just saying. I don't mind doing the work. I like being busy. It's a good side gig for me as a wedding officiant. Usually one Saturday a month. Or a couple, depends. Like almost my entire October right now is completely booked. So it's fun. It's between I get an extra $250 to $400, pocket money. So I ain't mad at it.
Yeah.
So
I can take it. I can take it.
So so it's better than a hot dog and a handshake. How about that?
Yeah. Although I would take it.
I probably would too.
I'm like 12 pounds in 3 weeks. I could go for a hot dog and a handshake right now.
Pretty much.
Like I've totally cut sugar completely.
Oh wow!
I had a cheat day yesterday, but like I've cold turkey cut processed sugar, and it's a bit like smoking. So you have good days and bad. I've been quite jaunty at work. I've been dancing when listening to music and doing shit while fixing folks' watches. It's been quality. Getting ripped rotten for it, but at the same time, I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm feeling light, feeling breezy, feel good. I can't wait for the crash to come though. I'll be like,
I know
"Where's the fucking
you're gonna be a miserable son of a bitch. That's all I'm gonna
where's
say.
the fucking Mars bars?" Like that.
I want my
Just
deep
like
fried one. Give me my deep fried one.
I'm not alive unless my heart is covered in fat and about to explode.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of life for me right now. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's another thing for another time. You know,
Mhm.
This SRF fitness rather than the RBV fitness. That's all I'm saying. Right. Anyway, SmackDown. Should we talk about SmackDown?
We should. You know, it was the
Digress.
retro SmackDown last night. It was, you know, it was cool to see them, you know, do the throwback logos and as best, you know, as they could. You know, it wasn't obviously WWF logos.
Yeah, I did take a bit of umbrage from it though, because it was like throwback SmackDown to me. I was expecting like SmackDown stuff.
Like with the fist and all that.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that in a sec because I wasn't happy with that either. But the whole, because like the Fox on or WB on Fox did the promotion where they showed the SmackDown opening, which I thought was going to be the actual opening of the show, which was the SmackDown opening from 2006 that had current roster members on it. But we didn't get that. We got a promo package from Raw from 1994 because that SmackDown. What? Like for me, like if you're gonna do a retro SmackDown, just lean into SmackDown and what it was, like the history of that. You don't have to add the whole early 90s Raws or the golden era stuff. You know, just everyone loves SmackDown from like 99 onwards. And there was also a good lie that they threw out there was the first episode of SmackDown was the August edition where Triple H and The Rock had the title match, but they actually had a SmackDown in April that year,
right?
Which was the pilot, which they never talk about, which is weird. I mean, it's not the greatest show ever, but at the same time, you know, it gave birth to SmackDown,
right?
But
exactly,
that's me being nitpicky at best. For
I mean, but I think the whole point was it was celebrating SmackDown, but they were also celebrating just WWF in general. You know, I mean, we see that a lot with when they do these retro things. It's not so much necessarily an opportunity. It's an opportunity to just bring back people or things or whatever from history in general, not necessarily the event. They do touch on the event, but Vince wants to cover everything because that's the whole then now forever thing that they've been promoting.
Yeah.
So
or then it's then now together forever.
Is it? I thought it was then now forever together.
Yeah, so it's then now forever together.
Right. Yeah,
because it's like because that's that whole thing for everyone coming back.
Because they're being inclusive. They're being inclusive.
Yeah, we're all being pals again. Yeah. Welcome back. We're all. I love that. It's like together, and then there's Nick Hunt in the arena still.
Yeah.
Come on, guys, timing and all that.
Yeah.
But it was it was nice. But we got a good opening to SmackDown as well, which I quite enjoyed. Oh, it was quite quick paced. For what I could see, he opened up with what you think's a normal Roman Reigns promo, and it was for a few minutes. We talked about beating Daniel Bryan, and he had a bit of like New York gangster about him. Hey ma, you're gonna acknowledge me, yeah? You're gonna show me the respect, kiss the ring. I put out Daniel Bryan. He no longer part of the show. He's out of here.
Oh, gee. I wonder what Smack Attack host said that. Oh, gee.
Yeah, totally. You're just claiming wins all the time, you.
Well, I mean, when I say it and it happens, I mean, what do you want me to do? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair. Like you are reading the tea leaves quite nicely. I'll say that you called it quite nicely. But it was a good promo. I quite liked what Roman Reigns is putting out here, and then it was just more of the same. And it was just sort of like, I don't know how to describe it. It was just like he was feeling himself on this one. He wasn't like he was like, I'm good, I'm free. It felt like he at that time, at that very moment, felt there was no problems whatsoever in his life.
Right.
There was no one coming for him. There's no Daniel Bryan. There's no this. And then Jimmy Uso comes back out of nowhere, which was lovely. I was smashing. And the story of Jimmy Uso through the night is what made it for me.
Yes. Exactly.
What made this show. I mean, it was a good show all around in general, but the Jimmy Uso stuff, which we'll kind of tap into as we go through this review. Brilliant. 10 out of 10 from him. It really kind of added more layers to this story, which my worry was, were we just going to get the same for the next wee while? We're getting a bit of kind of substance and diversity in the storytelling, which is really good. But before even Jimmy Uso could even say anything, Cesaro came out.
Yeah.
Made his voice heard. Well, kinda. It was sort of like saying, "You're half the man Daniel Bryan is. This show's better with him." But it doesn't matter. I can't. I love it. It's like, I can't pay attention to you right now. I've got bigger fish to fry. I was like, I like that, because like, I can't deal with you this week. And Roman Reigns just bursts out laughing as he said that. I was like, oh.
Right. But I like that too, because it's like, in his own mind, Cesaro knows that he's belittling the champ to kind of like knock at that ego a little bit, and I like the fact too, because when Jimmy, before we get into this, like, even when Jimmy came out, you could see that there was love for Jay, but the interaction with Roman was just a little bit more like
frosty.
A little frosty, and I like that, because I'm like, oh, is he not just going to come back and fall in line? I mean, I like that. Okay, that's cool. And then you had Cesaro come out, and I liked this Cesaro, this confident Cesaro. Like, I don't have time to mess with you because I have to deal with Seth Rollins, as if implying that Roman Reigns is not a big deal. When Roman Reigns that's all he's saying is he's the man, he's the big deal. And he just takes a shot at that ego. And, it was just really good, to do that. And then, of course, we get going with Seth Rollins. Once can't, he cannot handle, Cesaro.
Cesaro's got his number at this point.
He's got his number, and he's so irate that he can't even, he can't even deal with the fact that Cesaro is doing something or anything or talking, and he's just like, gets so infuriated by it. I loved it. It was great. And that's how that they start, and then they're gonna go, okay, well, we're gonna get this match started. They clear out the ring, and Seth Rollins gets going. And Uso stay, because it's like they want to, the whole thing. But at the whole time, even in that moment, they're seeing, like, I don't know if you did this, but in this whole match, I watched the Usos a little bit.
Yeah.
And I watched Jay and Jimmy. And I watched, because like, Jimmy was looking, but not necessarily the same way Jay was. Jay was looking like with a bit of anger or a bit of whatever. And Jimmy was more looking like, okay, he's watching, but he's looking over at Jimmy, kind of seeing like, what's his reaction, what is he doing, kind of thing, as if to gauge what's going on.
What it was for me.
Yeah,
Jimmy was the bigger brother. He was the big brother out of the two, and it's the story throughout the whole thing. Like, Jay was looking up, as you say, he was looking at Jimmy, and looking at Jimmy. It's like looking for that. What's that word I'm looking for? Looking for that sort of, not agreement. What's that word? Not permission. What's that one? Blessing. He was looking for his brother's blessing for all of this. Like, come on, man. We're cool, eh? Like, it's all right. We're back together again. Like, and he's looking for that kind of pride and like thinking on the same page and all that. But I don't think it came, because it really, even throughout this match, like, Jay's getting involved, and Jimmy's not getting involved until Jay's paying the price for what he's doing.
Right.
That was what I quite liked about that, and it's the shades of grey about this whole thing. Like, Rollins got knocked out the ring. Jay was kind of getting in the way a little bit. He wasn't really doing much, but it was like Rollins was like, "Look, you're not your cousin, right? Unless you get in my face. I don't want anything to do with you.
I don't need you." Yeah. And because I think it was Cesaro got out first, and Seth was coming in, and Jimmy was going to do something, or Jay was going to do something, and Jimmy was just kind of off in the corner. Jay was going to do something, and Seth stopped him. Yeah. And says like, "I don't need your help. I don't need your help. Go away. You're not your cousin. Kind of thing." And so he gets Cesaro back in the ring, and then I think Jay does something. Like, I think Jay puts his hand on Seth Rollins.
Or he gets pushed, wasn't it? He was kind of
he put his hand on him, which made Seth Rollins push him. It's kind of one of those things like, someone puts your hand on you, you're not sure what's happening, and then you turn around and push somebody because of it. And so Rollins puts his hand on, Jay puts his hand on Rollins and he pushes him, and that's when Jimmy does something.
Yeah.
Sticks
up for his little brother.
He doesn't do anything before then, and that's when he super kicks him and they put him back in the ring. But to be honest, once again, Cesaro and Rollins. I know we're not really talking a lot about that, but it was a good match. Countering the swing, countering the Gotch neutralizer, countering all the different stuff that Rollins did. And of course he had to get his superplex Falcon Arrow move in, which I'm sure Ben loved, and it was excited about that to see, and then kick out at 2 on that one from Cesaro. Yeah. So once again, just bearing 2 massive moves, and but that's Seth Rollins, buckle bomb that gets buried. I mean, we see Seth pull out some of his big stuff that normally works, and it doesn't work. Yeah. And it takes a super kick from Jimmy and getting put back in the ring. And I gotta say though, Seth's kind of been over. It was very cool to watch Cesaro slide over him and spin around.
Yes,
in that position for the Gotch neutralizer. So smooth, so good. Just
it's like he airplane spinned himself off Rollins, and then perfectly landed it. Oh, that was beautiful.
And just right in the position for the Gotch, just grabbed it, boom, 1, 2, 3, and ball game. And that's the thing about Cesaro. He would do stuff like that. He would do these smooth moves or things like that you're going, okay, that was pretty damn good. I mean, just to show off his athleticism and some of the things that he did. I really, I like matches. I'd rather we see matches and keep the backstage stuff backstage with a minute or 2 of backstage stuff, and let's just put more work in. But it was a good match. It had some good time to it, and other than the typical Rollins bearing big moves, I thought Cesaro once again just showed how good he is. And then by winning this, he earns a shot at Roman Reigns at Backlash. For the title. So, I liked it. I thought this was aces in my book as far as, and then opening match, great opening match. Yeah, it really was.
It was fun. My camera has decided to just freeze. So for the next wee while, you're just seeing a frozen picture of myself. Hope you enjoy. I'm just gonna deactivate it and reactivate it. What the fuck? There we go. Back alive again. But one thing we forgot to talk about before we get into this match, and I don't know if we should wait until maybe later into the later into the review. Teddy Long came back. Absolutely hee-haw anywhere. Yeah. Like this whole scrap at the beginning, and then Teddy Long's like, by the power invested in me. And I was like, I love that. Yep. You've given him the reins. I'm happy, man. This show was always going to be good for me after that point. Mm-hmm. I was like, if he beats Rollins, you get the title shot at Backlash. I was like, fucking yes. I missed that moment. I was like, I could take Teddy Long back as general manager. I could gladly see him come back and just do that role again. He would do a fantastic job. And I think it would just...
By the way, if you want to see Teddy Long as a general manager, you can watch him on SWE Wrestling, which is Southwest SWE Fury, I believe. You can look that up. They have some local distributorship here in Texas on TV, but YouTube as well. And you can see Teddy Long as general manager of SWE, Holla Holla Playa, and making tag team matches, brother. So, he's
having a great time.
He's having a great time. He's living his best life, man. And he's doing that. And, it's good stuff, but working with some local Texas talent as well as some other WWE stars who make their appearances on that show. If you want to watch how hot Texas wrestling is right now, try to go and check out SWE and see what it is that they're doing. And they're doing some good stuff because they're taking people from all over Texas, all over the places. So people from Booker T School, people from here in the Metroplex, people from West Texas, giving them all shots to do some great things. Tim Storm is there, wrestling regularly. Just lots of names that you're going to see. Mark Henry shows up a lot. Charlie Haas, I think, is the actual heavyweight champion right now.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oofed. So I didn't even know he was still going about.
Yeah, no, he's going about it, and he's playing this ultra hard badass, and he's the heavyweight champ. So yeah, so Charlie Haas is there. So it's good stuff. So if you want to see Teddy Long as a general manager, you can go check him out there.
Yeah.
It'll be really good. So yeah, but I love Teddy Long. Probably as part of the throwback night. We see later after this that
Such a good
Sonya
promo.
thought she was going to be by herself, and she's like, "But I love that Teddy Long that you're here." And the Sami Zayn. I don't
What a
remember what this
promo.
was. I just wanted to talk about it. I love the part. You know.
Just before we get into that, though, I see people watching the show. I hope you're enjoying it so far. Get involved. Get your stuff in the chat. Whatever you want to talk about SmackDown, anything we were talking about just now. Anything you want to talk about, the world of anything. We'll talk about it as we go. We love hearing from you. We love hearing your thoughts about anything. So get your comments in on the live chat, and we'll dive into them as we go through the show. But yeah, so we did have a moment with Seth Rollins shouting at Roman Reigns because of what happened.
Yeah.
He didn't know if he needed to be mad at Jimmy or Reigns, so that was quite a nice little bit. And also before we get into that, one of the best moments ever on SmackDown got played out, which was the Stone Cold Steve Austin and Booker T grocery store fight.
Yes.
To this day, I still love it. I still absolutely love that as much as like watching it back then. It was just so daft and hilarious.
Yeah.
And it was just showed like, in a weird way, it showed like Austin's like comic side, but all like both their comic side, but also kind of reinstated like Steve Austin's like ruthlessness.
Yeah.
At the same time, it was badass. It was out of it.
And it was so funny because like I literally stopped. I said, Jacob, you got to stop and watch this. And so he took his headphones off because he was just kind of whatever. And he watched it. He's like, "Oh my god, that's awesome!" I was like, "Yeah." I said they went and they did that in a real grocery store. Like no sets, no nothing. They went to a real grocery store and paid the grocery store to do that,
all
and for
that.
whatever damages they did,
of which there were many.
Oh yeah,
which there were many.
Because they just let them go, and they said, and some of those are real people in there, like those are real grocery store shoppers and everything like that. They said they didn't shut down the store because I think it was on something to wrestle with Bruce Pritchard that they talk about that and said, it's a real grocery store. Or they didn't really shut it down; they just kind of let them go.
Fuck. Could you imagine? There's like the utter confusion about it as well. Just like, what the fuck's happening?
Eggs, and the guy is covered in eggs, and just battered the whole egg section, and so you're like, well, I guess I'm not getting eggs today.
You know what it is? The best visual is when like Booker T throws him into the freezer and he thinks that's it, and then all of a sudden like Austin comes out of one of the milk fridges,
right?
Like actual inside the fridge comes out of it. Which I love that. It's like a bit that visual is so funny because it's just like Booker T turning around going,
just chugging it like beer, and he's got the milk all over him.
Yeah. And if you had a wee chug there, it was great. It's Booker T's facial expressions throughout this as well. He thinks he's got away with it, and then it's when he sees him go,
well, and just the beginning.
Bam.
Just the beginning. He just all of a sudden he turns around and that facial expression of like, oh crap, there is Stone Cold Steve Austin right here. What's what? Yeah, and it's just it is easily one of the best bits of poetry and art that they've done on SmackDown, I think, in the entire time. It was
clean up on R5. And he's out. Beautiful. So we got to play out that there. And the fun kept on coming because then Teddy Long's in that offer. We touched on the Sonya Deville being happy to see him. Then Sami Zayn is coming in and he's trying to plead his case to get an Intercontinental title shot. Or I don't know what it was. I think it was he wanted an IC title match. And Teddy Long just starts like going, you're getting a match, but you're gonna go 1-on-1 with the Undertaker. Oh fucking hell! And it's just like he's retired, mate. He's gone.
Yeah, it's just Sonya's like, no, he's not on the roster.
He's like, oh, and
then he's coming up with all this kind of stuff, and they're like, and so we're gonna do a tag team match, player. It's gonna be 10 play, and then he talks about, he says all these things like, and he said King Booker, and they're like, no,
he's gone.
He's not. Yeah, he's gone. Yeah. King
JBL.
Just the things that he pulled off, man. It was so classic. It was so great. I loved it. It was hilarious.
You know what's great is like you see people like that and they have in their head to come and have a laugh. I absolutely respect the crap out of that because not enough people do it sometimes where it's like too much like self-respect, too much like, nah, I want to be treated like a big deal. You've got someone like Teddy Long that comes in and just has a laugh and just does all these. He knows it's like a meme and he knows it's just like silly as fuck, but then it's like That's what we love him for. So it's like,
Yeah.
great, get that
And
out
he's
there.
like, Sammy, you got some like at the end. Sammy, you got some dance moves. Let me see you dance. Couldn't you do the Teddy Long, huh? Can you do the Teddy Long? And he's doing that. And so him and Sonya are getting
Yeah.
into it. And then Sammy's like, oh, I don't know. But then Sammy starts doing it. You know, oh my God. It was easily my moment of the night. Just that was such a great, oh God, so
Yeah.
good. So
Man.
good.
And then we got after this, we got our time cue because wow, did this go by fast.
Yeah.
Jimmy and Jay come into Reigns' locker room and Reigns gives him an absolute bollocking and says he's been here less than an hour. He's been there an hour and he's already screwed things up. And as soon as he said it's been an hour, I was like, yeah, that was an hour of TV.
Yeah.
Well done. That was well done. Nice, quick, smooth hour of TV. It was lovely. And it was just kind of like Reigns wasn't good. It was sort of like Jimmy sticking up for himself a little bit. So like, you're not going to talk to me like you talk to me, Jimmy, all right?
Right.
And ain't nobody's bitch.
Ain't nobody's
got
bitch.
It there.
Exactly.
Yes, I absolutely love that as well. Jimmy leaves. Then Reigns tells Jay to handle it, as Jay is told to handle everything these days. I'm sure if like bills come in through the mail, it's like, Jay, go and pay those at the bank for me. Cheers, mate.
Right.
Sounds like about what is right. But again, bleeding into the story, Jimmy's not taking this lying down. It's nice to be back, but it's like, look here, I'm not happy with what's going on here. Quick little match. Ruby Riott versus Carmella. Good. All right. Not much else to talk about for me. It was there.
Yeah.
It's nice to see Carmella back.
It was just to establish Carmella. Now, what I couldn't quite understand is she like back to the Carmella is money character? Is she the or is she the whatever chick that she was trying to be? Or is it? It seemed a little mixture of both. Mm-hmm. Like because she came out with like that money bikini outfit, you know, but still
bring back the red one. I prefer it. Just saying. Yeah. Bring back bougie Carmella. I don't need. Whatever one it is now.
Well, you have Eva Marie coming back, and I'm sure she'll be that way. So
team them up.
Well, she's gonna be on Raw.
Ah, fuck. Nah, we'll figure something out. Team them up. I want like, hey, my girlfriend's not here. I can say it. I want some eye candy with my son. Okay, just
well, who doesn't?
Lads between lads here, eh?
Yeah.
but hey, I'm just like, you can say what you want, right? But I watched that submission finish, and you're telling me you're not looking at Carmella that time? Come on, boys.
I want to be in that submission. Let's just say.
No comment.
Yeah. Corey Graves is a lucky man.
He is. Hey, even like Pat McAfee got in on that action as well. It's just like, whoa. Yeah. He's like, yep. Okay, it's the real deal then. We're not just kind of jumping on this because it's Corey Graves' other half. Okay, real deal. Fair play. Yeah. She still has part, and I'm surprised she's not had. I know she's been injured. I would like to see her more involved in stuff, title pictures or whatever. But either her and Eva Marie as a pair, and people will like scoff at that, but I think that'd be pretty good. You want to make yourself a couple of quid? You want to do something for the dads? You want to get some Instagram likes and views? Carmella and Eva Marie. Boom. Done.
Yep.
Easy money.
Yep.
Easy money. And everyone in the chat, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah. But we can crack on. Brock Lesnar suplexing the Big Show.
Yep.
Now, this was...
That's another one. I was like, Jacob, watch this. So
this was the one where it's like, this should never have happened again.
Yeah.
Because it's never been the same. No one's done it right. No, you can't get the magic that had.
Right.
Like Braun Strowman doing it or the Big Show Mark Henry doing it. It's not the same. It just isn't the same. This was the moment where Brock Lesnar was like Brock Lesnar for me. Like,
right.
He was unstoppable. He was an absolute unit. And he's not afraid to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And he just does this big superplex. And it's Taz that sells it so well. It's like, holy shit!
Yeah.
Screaming.
Or he's about to say it and he kind of keeps himself from saying it because he realizes he's on network TV. But yeah, like...
Oh, no, he says it. He definitely did say it. But they got bleeped out after, like, I think the original one that came out, I think they got it in there. Then future ones, they never got it.
Okay.
And can you imagine being there not knowing it was going to happen?
Yeah.
That'd be
and the ref bump too sold it. You know, like just, it wasn't over the top. It wasn't crazy. It was, it like a genuine reaction to like what just happened. Did the ring just fall apart?
Yeah,
You're like,
it wasn't like what's his name when it was a Mark Henry the Big Show done it and he nearly broke his neck falling out of the ring.
right, yeah,
It was pretty like whoa, you're like grabbing the floor to make sure he's okay.
yeah, yeah,
But nowadays you can't do that because you can tell by the polls. Because I remember it was a Braun Strowman match of some kind, and obviously they've got the ring posts that are electronic now, and they had like the normal ones there. I was like, yeah, Braun Strowman's going to break the ring.
mm-hmm.
It was like that was it. I was like, it's going to break the ring. It's happening.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, suplex, boom, ring broken. I was like, fuck it. It's not impressive anymore. You need to come up with something new, something fresh. You need a fresh Brock Lesnar thing. They're running out of them, but that was the beast doing his thing because he can. And it was great because they both got killed out of it because they were both selling it like the ring actually had exploded.
Yeah.
So
like they were both out. It exploded. They're just laying there. The ref is just going like, "What the hell?" I mean, and if I remember, that ended the night, right?
That was the last thing.
That was the last thing.
I think they had like EMTs come out and in this camera cut. It was like, good night.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Yeah,
done so well.
That's how you end a show. That's how you end a show.
And they rode that wave for weeks after that.
Right.
Like promo packages and everything. It was brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
That was good. Unfortunately, we have to go back to the present day. But another segment I had a good chuckle at as well. Bayley in the ring, talking about the women's champions of old, the likes of Alundra Blaze, Jacqueline, Beth Phoenix, Molly Holly, and I just love this sort of like, but they're not Bayley, are they? They're not me. I'm well
right. Yeah.
It was just that little bit of ego coming through, and I think she gets away with it more than what a lot of other superstars could do. And I think that's why I enjoyed it so much when she was like, oh, but she's no Bayley.
Right. Yeah. And it was interesting because at first you're thinking, okay, she's being kind of genuine about this, but then you hear the backhanded compliments that she gives. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, I see what she's doing. I'm like, okay, never mind.
Yeah, and then she
because the whole thing leading up to it, she sounded very genuine. You know, let's celebrate the women of the past who've gotten us to where we are. And I'm going, all right, what's happening here? Is she doing a face turn?
I was going to say this. I'm slowly getting like the way she looks now and how she's like presenting herself. Slowly getting the fear they're going to turn her face.
And
I can't believe I'm saying that.
And then she just did this whole backhanded compliment, and then gets to Bianca and totally rips her. So
yeah.
Like, oh, never mind. I like it. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, and it was a nice back and forth they had as well. Like Bianca Belair's like, you're just not happy because I'm confident. It's my confidence that's bringing you down, and it was like, oh. That was like a nail on the head. One was like, whoa, she's just like straight in there. She's not messing. She's like, I know, I see it. You see me with the championship. You see how confident I am. You see what I'm doing. You're seeing the people that I'm influencing and inspiring as I'm being champion. You're just intimidated by that. That's cool. Also, I'm going to be the longest reigning women's champion. And that was the one where it was just like, boom. Like,
over the top.
Over the top. Bayley had this crazy, weird laugh go on as well. Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Bit forced for my liking.
But I mean, in that whole point, you know, she's
Although I would have liked it just like a kind of normal, kind of natural, laughy, quietly brewing to the point where when she says, "I'm going to be the longest," like a snigger, like I'm going to be the longest reigning champion. That little build, I think, would have been funny for me. But then I'm not the writer of SmackDown. It worked for me. It worked anyway. But I just prefer a little bit more kind of little creepily build of my comedies now and again, and I thought that would be nice. That whole laugh it was weird. It was great because like Bayley went from having this crazy laugh to try to double leg take down Bianca. I can never say Bianca Belair on this show, right? I always go I think Bianca Belair is giving me a fucking stammer on this show, like, and that is not a euphemism, right? Calm your jets. Yeah. But I can never say it properly. Anyway, this whole thing with Bianca just kickstart with Bayley doing a double leg takedown that gets stuck, and then they just have a big scrap. I like this little touch that she has where Bayley uses Bianca's hair to try and get the upper hand.
Right.
Well, I was like, that's pretty smart because it's like her biggest strength, but also her biggest weakness is her hair.
Right. You got like a 4 foot long hairpiece. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, why don't you grab on it, step on it, do what you can to use it as an advantage. That was like one of the things that, in football, when we played, it'd be like, if a guy's got hair and it's coming out of his helmet, grab it. You
Yeah.
know,
Just
there's no rule against it. In American football, there's no rule against grabbing a guy's hair to bring him down.
really,
It's,
that
it's
seems
not,
like seems pretty like if that was rugby, you'd be getting tail. Anything involving the head and neck is like danger zone. You can't really be messing with that. So to see that in
yeah.
American football is like,
Yeah, but I mean they've never because now it was always hair usually was kept under the helmet
yeah,
because you never wanted anything to stick out to give an advantage or whatever. But now you're seeing guys with rows and dreads and things like that are just coming way out. It's like there's no rule against just
yeah,
grabbing a hold of hair. And so why not? That's the whole point.
yeah.
It's like so I was there's this guy that I know, he's on TikTok, he's a Cajun and he's very funny. He goes, hey, by the way, it's a 2-stroke penalty if you tee up in front of the marker for
Yeah.
golf. He goes, okay. And so his buddy takes it and puts the tee right in front of the hole and tees off literally right in front of the hole, puts it in. He goes, okay,
Because
that's
you
an
can do the
eagle.
penalty.
He's like, okay, well, that's an eagle, so there you go.
That's
They're
pretty
like,
smart, actually. I might have to
yeah,
incorporate that if I ever take up golf.
yeah, yeah. So, but it's kind of one of those things of like somebody says, if if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's that mentality. So why not? Especially if you're a heel in wrestling, if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
yeah.
We see that all the time. And so I like that Bailey sees that and sees it as a weakness and goes for it. And to maybe make her make a decision. Does she come out not wearing that thing or keeping it tied up in a tight bun or whatever? How is Bianca going to counter Bailey going after her hair like that?
You know what would be a wild, like heat building moment for a heel? Maybe not Bailey, maybe someone else. It's got a pair of hedge trimmers and just go, shoop,
Oh yeah,
and cut that,
yeah.
cut it, just cut it, and you'll be like, whoa,
Oh yeah.
it's a big,
That's good. That they're building to that at some point. Somebody's gonna have to cut that hair.
Yeah, it's a bold move as well. Like,
yeah,
it's a big part of like crazy enough. Like Bianca was probably good enough to do it without it, but it's a big part of her character and it's her history. So can you imagine just going, shoop?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, but that's easily where they're building.
Yeah,
is somebody at some point is gonna either tie her hair to the ropes, they're gonna cut or tie it to the ropes and cut it where she can't, do anything about it.
I could see a last woman standing match ending like
Mhm.
that. Like someone knocks her down, ties her hair to the ring post at the bottom, and then she's like, "Fuck," and she can't get out.
Yeah,
I could really like. I'd like that.
yeah,
And then just cut off, which is a shame because I think it's a good look for her. It's unique. But
is.
it just feels like that's a natural move eventually is we're going to have to cut that off and it's going to be big for a heel.
Right.
I just hope it's not wasted on one.
Right.
I think they need to almost make a heel. Like if they take someone up from NXT and like, right, we need to really turn you into a badass. We need to make you like we need to make the next Bianca Belair but heel form. You're going to cut off Bianca's hair and it's going to just.
I could see Dakota Kai having the personality to pull that off. Now the athleticism, I don't know if she could. But I could see the personality being able to do something like that.
I'm surprised she's not come up yet. I think it's a matter of time before she does.
Do you disagree? I don't know. Yeah, I don't. I've seen her matches. I don't see anything that stands out. I think she's a NXT property, kind of like Candice LeRae. As much as everybody wants to talk about how great Candice LeRae is, everything I've seen in NXT is NXT.
But I suppose you could say that about anyone, though, could you not? Because they're building their roster around that.
No, but that's the whole thing. Is like, I think Raquel Gonzalez could move up. I think she's got the look, she's got everything about her. Tommaso Ciampa, Gargano. Those are guys who are going to be NXTers for life. But Walter, he could be on the WWE roster right now. There's people who walk into that performance center who are on NXT that you go, yeah, that guy could be on the main roster. That guy could be on SmackDown or Raw.
Yeah. Killer Cross.
Yeah, I mean that
I
guy.
would see him
You
on.
know, you're just waiting for okay, who's going to get it, SmackDown or
Yeah.
Raw. You
I feel
know,
like it's going to be a while before we see. Oh, it's Karrion Cross now, isn't it? I prefer
right?
Killer.
Karrion
If you're
Kross,
watching
yeah,
this Killer Cross, prefer Killer Cross.
yeah,
But yeah, I think it's a matter of time before he comes up. But then you don't want to bring him up too soon because he has to drop
right.
the title, and we can't have him drop the title. But it'd be great to see him up there and on a. I'll always say SmackDown because it's biased because we review SmackDown and it's obviously the far better show, and you don't want to see anyone wasted on Raw. But I think it would suit quite well on SmackDown, and even though weirdly, and it's funny that we talk about him because we can. I'm going to just segue straight into it. No Aleister Black.
Right.
No Aleister Black on the show, which is weird because those last 2 weeks his promos were really good, really nice,
Yeah.
unique packages with some storytelling, a little bit of background, and nothing this week, which is a bit of a surprise for a retro SmackDown. I think it would have been nice to see like a retro style promo from Aleister Black, like in a room kind of filmed old styley and things like that. I mean, it's maybe people might think that's hokey, and I maybe agree with you, but at the same time, I think you could have done something with him to push the character forward a little bit, unless they were thinking. I mean, this was quite an upbeat show, so I don't know if they were just like, "Now we'll just keep it high this week, and then we can simmer it back down in a week or so's time." Because it was quite, for all things considered, this was quite an upbeat episode of SmackDown. All the things that happened.
Was.
So
it was.
Maybe that was that. We should crack on. John Cena's debut.
Yeah.
Ruthless aggression. That made him forever.
Yeah.
He probably didn't even realize it at the time because I think he had like a rough couple of months where it was touch and go. He was almost like out the door, which is mental to think that he was like a hair away from being released.
Mm-hmm.
And he turned it round and being like, dare say, one of the biggest names ever that WWE have created post Hogan.
I mean, well, that and the Undertaker shaking his hand.
Oh, that was cool.
Wearing the belt, having the belt on his shoulder. What's your name, kid? John Cena, and shakes his hand.
You all right?
You know what I mean? Like
you are
that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care who you are, where you're at.
That's a seal of approval.
If the Undertaker shakes your hand. I mean, they put that on TV. I mean, whether it was supposed to happen or not, you can't tell me that's not a seal of approval. If Mark Calloway, the Undertaker, has the belt on the shoulder in the picture, shakes your hand, and
he's
says,
agreed to that as well. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
If he didn't want to do it, he wouldn't have done it.
He didn't have to. But if he did, obviously that means you're something, And of course, he was wearing the prototype gear and the prototype haircut,
frosted hair.
So, but still, it's that idea of, it's you never know who you got until you got it.
Yeah.
And you just, who's that next person going to be?
Yeah.
And so that I think that's why we cling to like things like NXT and then the WWE roster, because we're looking for that next Cena. We're looking for that next Undertaker, that next Shawn Michaels, that person who's going to be that Stone Cold, that larger than life character that we love, and but unfortunately at the same time too, WWE is not allowing that either.
Yeah.
They're not allowing these characters to become that larger than life person that we so craved and wanted.
Yeah. But that's always come down to like Vince's fear that he doesn't want another Brock Lesnar Goldberg situation. He doesn't want like a homegrown talent that gets too big for the boots and then just bails on them at the worst possible time. I mean, Brock Lesnar thing was something that came around, but it takes a lot. I don't know if it's like the effort part as well, because it's like because you see it with some talents, like Roman Reigns hasn't really got to this level, even at his best when he was a babyface.
Right.
At the time, there was still a little bit of pulling him back a little bit to now where he's not. It's like to get to this point, it's taken a lot of like faith and trust, like to hope that he's going to be at that level and he's not going to disappear. Especially now with AEW going about as well, it's probably a bit more like playing with Vince's mind. It's like, man, if he gets like too big and his contract runs out, he's off to AEW, he's off to Japan, and it's going to kill my business. Or that sort of like anxiety he's got, and it might take him leaving, which will never happen. But it needs a fresh head. It needs kind of like a man or person to just kind of look at this, take a step back, and go, right, okay, what we got? Who can we make? Because there's plenty of people down there in NXT on the main roster that you, if you wanted, you could turn into the guy or the women if you want to do the women's division, especially in the women's division. There's plenty there. So I think it comes down to that one time where Brock Lesnar fucked him over, and he never trusted a big baby face since. That's why they did two, essentially, wasn't it? Because they had John Cena on one Raw, on one brand, and then Batista on the other. And the proof was in the pudding by terms of logic. Even though Batista was a bit different, like, again, Batista, big name, eventually moved on and do bigger and better things, and never really came back. And John Cena was the lifer until his time. He knew when his time was come, and he's went and done his own thing. So, and maybe that's the thing. It's like the timing of it, like leaving at your prime, and then when you're like being built up like the next Hogan or the next Austin, rather than at the tail end of it. And you know, the project suffers to this day because of that. Yeah,
it does. We need that Hogan, Stone Cold superstar that we can just cling to. Which is why we watch. You know, the other characters are great, but when you have that person on top, it just makes those other people better, because then they have to work hard to reach that level that other person is at.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and so there's that. So anyway, let's
quite nice we're talking about the future, because next match coming up, Dolph Ziggler and Dominic Mysterio, which was originally supposed to be Dolph Ziggler and Rey Mysterio. But then Dolph Ziggler was giving it the big in, calling Dominic essentially just called my child, called my baby. He's like, oh, look at you, you're still young. Let the men do the business, do the work. Let us do the business.
Men are talking. Yeah.
Like, get in the ring, and then like Ray's mask, by the way, is Ray got something up with his eyes? Because like,
So this one, it was looked like. So this is one of those masks where he probably has it where you can't see in, but you could see out. You know, it's one of those like green kind of shield things.
Yeah, for me, it was like, you might not get this reference, but it was like Edgar Davids, the footballer Edgar Davids, like 20 years ago. He was like a Dutch footballer, and his eyes were so fucked that he had to like wear goggles, like special goggles, and they were like bright.
The rec specs.
Yeah, he said there were special goggles that were orange, and that's how he played football. And I was like, that's what Rey Mysterio's doing. He's Edgar Davids. He's about to score 20 a season for Fulham again. Like, or Juventus. Better should you say Juventus? He called it Fulham. Juventus is a better one. Sorry, football fans, I'll let you down.
No, that's okay.
But yeah,
they're like, I think that's what it was. I don't, and it was one of those things of, I think with the mask coming out, what he had on, he was never going to wrestle. This was always going to be the case of Dolph Ziggler calling out Dominic so that Dominic could wrestle, because they want to spotlight him more.
Yeah.
Because, we know Ray's a legend. But I mean, let's be honest. What Dolph Ziggler was saying is what a lot of people are saying. He's a legacy child. He doesn't deserve to be there. He hasn't put in the work. He hasn't done, the independence. He's doing a David Flair.
Yeah.
David Flair started out, going to WCW and everything like that, and then ended in the armories. And so, whereas, and I mean, granted, I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. I don't know what has been done. I do know that Dominic Mysterio was at Lance Storm's Academy for a while. He and a graduate of that. So there is that aspect as well. But honestly, from everybody's point of view, that's everything he said is true, because we don't see him doing independent dates. We haven't seen him doing anything along those lines. We just see him showing up. Well, he gets a spot on SmackDown because Daddy's on SmackDown. So,
but I suppose he has like pulled his weight. It's not like David Flair was a bit different because he didn't really pull his weight for the most part. He was sort of just there, and they kind of worked around him rather than him being in charge. Like with Dominic, he's getting a real good chance to work matches. He's getting reps in. Like he's getting matches with Dolph Ziggler, Chad Gable. I mean, these are matches where they'll make him look good, but he's also learning a lot. I totally agree. It's like, it's not the kind of right way to go. I mean, if you really want to get your work in, you should kind of work from the bottom and work your way up to the top.
Right.
So, things like working independent scenes, going through developmental. But it seems like this is a favor sort of gig, because like Dominic's always been around. backstage is whenever Ray's been there, he's always been kind of around those people and he's grown up around it. So maybe there's that little bit of trust. And he was trained by Mysterio. He was trained by Ray's own gym. So maybe there was that trust as well. It's like, okay, we'll give you a go.
Right.
So let's see what your train's about. So there's a lot working for him. But I agree in the sentiment that a lot of people would not find that he deserves that. And that's not entirely wrong.
Right.
But he is putting the work in. He's doing a great job for me on SmackDown. He's nowhere near the finished article, nowhere near. But for the effort he's putting in, it's been quality. So good work on that. I can see the kind of signs of what he could be though. Like in this match, where he was like getting these nice, good spots on Dolph Ziggler, and the kind of his mannerisms. Like, you know what, he could take up that Prince Mysterio mantle down the line. It's not something he's. I think there's a good storyline that'll come into that when Rey Mysterio retires and he'll get the mask or something like that. I think he needs to get the mask. Sorry, guys.
Right. I agree.
I think Dominic needs a mask eventually to kind of really seal that in. But right now it's okay because it's like it's a young guy in training. He's just getting used to being with the big guys. Whereas eventually he will have to become a man. And I'm looking forward to that storyline.
Yeah.
It'll be really good.
But, this wasn't a long match. This was, it is, I guess, I don't know. I was just, honestly, I didn't know how to take this match because, Dominic being so inexperienced versus Dolph being so experienced. I didn't know. I
suppose it was like it was more the story of like Ziggler just being overconfident because he thought he had him, and he just learned the hard way. Like,
thought he got what he wanted, and then it ends on a roll up. So
got that on the list. We have to get at least one roll up on this show. Fucking hell!
I know.
But
it's almost because when you say roll up, when I hear roll up, I think fruit roll up.
I was going to say
they must have like a contract with like fruit roll up. And
subliminal messaging coming through is like, man, it's like, I really want some sweets right now.
Yeah, so then it's like they have to get it in, and so that's the whole point is they have a contract with the people who own fruit roll-ups.
Yeah. But it was an okay match though. It was okay.
Yeah.
The next couple of this and then the next match were kind of just like time killers a little bit for that, which I felt a bit bad for the main event match. Reigns has told Heyman to bring his cousin. I love this bit because it was like, bring my cousin to me. Which one? He just fucking looks at him like, really, man?
Yeah.
Which one? You know which one. Yeah. So let him in.
Yeah, but by the way, real quick, I did want to touch on this because I didn't get a chance to early and I couldn't figure out how to do it. But I wanted to make a meme because it was during, I think, the Cesaro Seth Rollins match. They would cut to Roman Reigns watching the match.
Yeah.
But then Paul Heyman was just staring at Roman Reigns like he was absolutely infatuated with him. Like he wanted him so bad. And I said, I wanted to make the meme that says, I want someone to look at me like Paul Heyman looks at Roman Reigns, because it was almost lustful how he would look at him. He was just kind of going like this, going,
Yeah, that's his cash cow though. That's him. He's minted.
I know.
He's set.
I know, but it was hilarious. Once again, Paul Heyman, whether he's on the mic or just in the room, he is proving his worth beyond whatever. I mean, whatever they're paying the guy, it's worth it because he is he's making it. I love it. So I don't mind seeing as much Paul Heyman as possible.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like Heyman's looking at Roman Reigns like that because he knows it's like he's getting enough money where he can pay those ECW wages now. Whoa.
Yeah, right.
Oh, was that a bit of a sore joke there? Sorry, guys. A bit dark, but hey ho. Too soon. 20 years. Come on, guys. They've made enough money now. They're happy. Most of them. Don't come for me, please. I'm just trying.
New Jack's coming for you. That's for sure.
Oh, fucking don't. Because he will. This is the thing. Have you watched that Dark Side of the Ring? He does not give a fuck. He doesn't give a fuck. That's terrifying. It really is. He's just like, yeah, I'll stab the guy. Fuck him.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
His brain does not work the same. And I think it's because he nearly died that his brain has just been rewired. And it's just like, great, thanks, mate. You turned him into a psycho and he's going to kill everyone.
Yeah. All right, New Jack or Nick Gage?
Whoa. Nick Gage, because he's not really killed anyone. I mean, I'd be fucked up, but I'd
that you
survive.
know of. I mean, he was in prison for robbery, and you got to do some crazy stuff in prison. So
Yeah, but I think Nick Gage would be a bit safer. I think they're both mental, but I feel like you know what, like David Arquette managed to get his throat slashed by Nick Gage, and he survived it. So I'm like, okay, if David Arquette can pull this off, then I'm all right with Nick Gage. So because if it was New Jack doing that shit, he'd die, 100%.
yeah,
But Nick Gage has just got that little bit in him. It's like, nah, I'll just turn it down a bit, pull it back, until
I
he
guess
kills
so.
someone, and then I'll be like, okay, neither, and I'll be happy.
Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah. I'm much more happy with neither. How about
or
that?
John Moxley with one of those hedge trimmer saws. You ever seen that
Yeah,
spot in the Death Tournament of Death where like someone just takes a head trimmer saw right across his head and cuts it open?
yeah.
Master,
No, thank you.
crazy fuck.
I'm not. I'm not about that life.
God damn. Anyway, Tamina beat Reginald in a match. It just like Reginald. Come
Yay.
on. Come on. He's getting bullied now. This is get rid. If you're not going to do anything with him, get rid. I feel bad for him now. It's just like he's just the plaything of Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, and he did okay in this match. I like to sort of avoiding Tamina the whole match by doing flips and the Cirque du Soleil stuff, and then the minute he loses is because he's too busy showing off to Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. It finished off in a disqualification. Basically, they just needed an excuse to have them all on TV and have a mini scrap to just plug pay-per-view. That's it.
Yep.
Reginald was just being nippy, and he got what he deserved. It was all right. I kind of want to see Reginald on 205 Live. You know what? If he can work, get him on 205 Live and do that stuff, because I think that'd be fun, and there'd be some great matches in there. Great matches for him in there. Just put him in and let him work. Get him out of this.
Yeah.
Get him out of this nonsense now. Let him go.
Let him do his thing. Yeah. I mean, and we don't. Once again, we don't need a man in the women's title stories.
No. We don't need to belittle anyone either.
No.
I mean, we learned that lesson years ago with the women being in men's storylines. So we can't really, because we're turning it around, doesn't mean you're getting payback. It just does nothing for me. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, we'll skip that. That's that. That's all I wanted to say on that. There's really much else to talk about because they had to scrap. They're going to take each other on at WrestleMania Backlash again. Then everyone had some promos before the 10-man tag match, which was quite nice because like there's a point.
I mean, but I gotta be honest, I loved Big E and all those guys. Their promo, I mean, I was just like,
it was good.
And like Kevin Owens is like starting to get into it, and they the Street Profits are like saying their thing, and then Shinsuke says, "We want the smoke," and I was just like, "Fuck yeah!"
I love how the best way to describe Kevin Owens' like involvement in this promo, if you haven't watched it, is like when you go out on a night out, you go dancing, right? And you do the lasso thing, and then you get them, and then you're pulling them back, just little bits. It was a bit like that. He got lassoed and he got pulled in, just grooving away. So that was a nice little promo. 10-man tag match, player. Crazy. It all happened. That was a lovely match. A fun match. That's all I want. That's all I want from my Smackdown. That's all I want from my 2 hours of TV. Just something to keep me entertained and having a good chuckle. And this was fun. I mean, it didn't last long as a match per se. I mean, they had like a little bit of wrestling, and then they all just kicked off, and then it was lovely.
You knew it was going to.
Yeah, I love. Oh, sorry, I'll let Karen.
No, I said you knew it was going to. It was not one of those things of it's a take
along special.
Yeah, and I mean, so it was going to be. A smudge, and it was going to be everybody getting their shit in and all that kind of stuff. But, that sometimes is fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind that, I would have preferred this go a little bit longer and we end the night with this, but I was good with it too, because sometimes we need some of this stuff, who doesn't love watching the Street Profits do their thing and Big E and, and I mean, when I watched the heels promo, I kept wondering, going, what happens if Commander Aziz, because they have the spear upside down, because I guess they don't want to show a bladed weapon on TV.
Yeah.
What if he's stabbing the ground? Like, what if he fucks up and like stabs somebody in the foot on accident? I know it's probably not a sharp bladed instrument, but still, it's got a point on
Yeah.
it, and it is. I mean, it is a spear, and he is a big dude, and if he's popping on the ground,
Probably respond
that's
to
gonna
that.
hurt.
I think it'd be the
Yeah,
response to like the Chris Weidman breaking his leg off Uriah
yeah.
Hall a couple of weeks ago, where it's like, oh, and then we're going to show you again twice. Warning,
Just
guys,
turn it around.
crack.
Just turn it around.
That's
Just turn
that's
the
what
stupid
that.
spear around. I mean, I just like that's the whole thing. I'm watching. I don't even really listen to the promo for the heels because I'm looking at the spear, going, he's gonna stab somebody. It's upside down. Why is he have an upside down spear?
Yeah, I mean, like if he has like any kind of bitterness about him as well, if he's like, right,
Mhm.
I want this guy's spot, and he's right next to me. If I just go and be like, oh, it's an accident, I'll get his spot.
Yeah.
He goes, fuck
Yeah.
you, and then he's up
Yeah.
there. He's halfway up the card. He's got a title picture. He's got a title shot.
Yeah, I know.
Well done.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, that's the whole thing is right now, like in this tag team match, you had 5 people who you really want to see their ass kicked, and you had 5 people who were so entertaining, and it made for a fun match.
Yeah.
It made for a fun time. I mean, it wasn't going to be a traditional wrestling match, but that's okay. Sometimes, like I don't know if you listen to Eric Bischoff in 83 Weeks. He's like, I don't book for me. I book for everybody.
Yeah.
Some people like that stuff. Some people like the hardcore and stuff. But you got to book for everybody as best you can. And this was one of those incidences of, boy, there really are a lot of people who could have a shot at the Intercontinental title.
Yeah,
and
it's a fun division.
And it put people on TV. It's been. I mean, honestly, I can't remember the last time I've seen Baron Corbin.
Yeah.
So
and he didn't look bad either. He didn't look bad either.
No, he looked good. He looked good.
There you go. How crazy is that? You just went, it's good to see him.
Yeah.
A year ago, would you even have thought of that sentence?
Mm-mm.
This tells you the power of SmackDown right now and how good it is.
Well, I mean, you got to see Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't love seeing Shinsuke? Who those kind of things. So to me, sometimes this is it's okay to do it. Just don't do it all the time. Yeah. Make it something unique. And of course, you had Tay Long. So which is that was his forte. We're gonna have a tag team match, player.
Yeah.
So that's what even made it more, I think, special and knowing what was going to be going in. So
I have to say, a highlight of mine, a personal highlight of mine in this match was when Kevin Owens hits a stunner and Apollo Crews goes flying. Pat McAfee's like, stunner, back on! And he's just like, on the top rope, he's doing his best JR impression as he does it. Like, well done. And then Kevin Owens hitting like 3 super kicks, well, 2 super kicks and trying for the third, getting dunked on his head by Chad Gable. Fun times. But it was just a boatload of fun, and that was just this whole story of SmackDown. Outside of like, you got your main story, which was like, it was quite nice because like, you had all this fun stuff all around the show, like your tag matches, Dominic Mysterio, the Ziggler thing, the Bianca Belair Bailey thing, everything else. But then your through line of the show was deadly serious,
right?
And up to this ending as well, when Jimmy Uso comes out and confronts Roman Reigns and Jay, and he's like, "Look, don't get angry at me, Jay, but if that was me, I would have tapped out. I would have just stuck to my guns. I would have held on. I would have stood my ground and all that stuff." And Reigns just like, Reigns was talking about how Jimmy's stuck in the past and you should just acknowledge him. Come on, man, it's all cool. But it was so good for me. It was just like, this story was just all about Jimmy Uso this week, and it was great.
Yeah.
And even the ending of that, it was just like, you know what? No, it was like, no, I'm not having that. You're strangling me to get a win over your own cousin. Not cool. And then my cousin submitted because of it. Like, and he's almost like saying, "Come on, man, you're better than this. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you letting this happen to you?" Voice of reason. That's the word I'm looking for. That Jimmy was in this whole situation.
Right.
Even to the point where like Reigns is like, acknowledge me, or you can just go and watch TV and tell your kids why you're not on TV.
Right.
Like, all right. And he just slowly walks away. He has a bit of confliction, which is what you want from this story.
Yeah.
And
then Jay comes after him and it's like, you get that cool off mic. I like when they do these off mic moments because it makes it seem more, it's like, come on, man, just do it. Just do it. We can go, because earlier in the night, there was that moment with Jimmy and Jay where Jimmy's like, man, we could be doing our own thing. We're the best tag team on SmackDown. How would that be? Roman Reigns, world champ, we the tag team champions. How would that be for the family? That would be good. Like we don't need him to go do our thing. And so Jay is kind of, hey, come on, man, just acknowledge him. We can go do our thing. Calling back to that segment earlier in the night, kind of at that moment, just giving that impassioned plea. And then surprisingly, Cesaro shows up and starts just whooping
mauling
ass,
everyone.
Man.
He's not up for that. He's Nick Gaging this shit. He's just fucking bam.
Yeah.
It was great.
Gets after Roman, and then Jay rushes right in. Jimmy's just standing there, though. That's the whole thing. Jimmy's just standing there. Jay rushes in to help Roman, and then, of course, he gets taken care of. And then Jimmy only steps in once again because Jay, it's that brotherly love thing. These guys are brothers, and, he steps in not for Roman, but for his brother. Yeah. And that's why he steps in. It's not because of Roman at all. And, of course, he takes a shot, too, for that. So, that's – and Cesaro just looked like $1 billion wearing that nice, those suit pants and just, ripped as AF and just being athletic and just bouncing people around like they were beach balls, man. I mean, what a way to end the night to show off Cesaro is the man.
Guy. He is the guy.
He is the man. And let's be honest, I could see him giving Roman a run for his money. I could see him getting the title. I want him to have the title.
I want him to have the title. I don't know. It's not quite processed with me yet. I don't think they would do it at this pay-per-view. I think if they're going to do it, it'd be a big occasion like SummerSlam or.
Right. And I say that. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if they gave it to him now, I wouldn't be mad. But, obviously it's going to be at a bigger event. But, if they decided, let's pull the trigger, I wouldn't be mad at it. I mean, he has proven he looks legit. Like $1 million. He's legit.
He's a real deal. And this is nice because this is the first one he has without having a Daniel Bryan to speak for him either. He's on his own. And it's sink or swim for him now. And he's had some great matches with Rollins. We know how good he is. We know what he can bring to the table. But this is it. Yeah. This is his main event shout now. This is his chance to be the top guy.
Exactly. Well, we know how strong he is. I mean, geez, he muscled up Seth Rollins into that suplex. Earlier in the night. Good Lord.
I mean, we won't talk about the neutralizer on Jay because that was a bit slippy for man like him. But everything else he looked fantastic, and it sets him up nicely. We've got a week and a bit to go, so next week's SmackDown is ultra interesting. The layers of Jimmy Uso. The one thing I was going to add to the Jimmy Uso thing is like, you know what I got from this? Jay is like a cult follower. It was like he was in a cult because he just couldn't see the forest for the trees. It was just like, oh man, this is great. Like, I acknowledge Roman Reigns. My life's changed forever. I got like the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. We're top of SmackDown right now. We're running things, thinking it's we, but it's actually Reigns. It's the top guy. Yeah. He's just telling Jay what to do, and Jimmy's just saying this like, what are you doing, man? You're out of your head. What's happened to you?
Yeah. So Roman wouldn't do that for you. He wouldn't give you the help if you asked for it. He brought up those things. So it's so, and that's why I liked about it. It was, it gave that G culty type thing. Same time though, you could see, man, family. Just family.
Yeah.
Do that for anybody else, and it doesn't make sense, but you do it for family. It just,
and that's what was nice about the ending, because like Jay, no matter like after all of that, Jimmy had to get involved because Jay was getting beaten up. It wasn't about Roman. It was like Jay. It was about Jay. He was just like, fuck, I need to help him out. I need to save him. And so he's just like caught in the crossfire this whole thing. And I think that's the added layers to the story that we need, because now we've got Cesaro, headlights on Roman Reigns. I'm coming for you. You've got Jimmy and Jay, who could potentially have like a mini feud to eventually get back together, which is good. SmackDown's good.
Yeah,
it just is, eh? I'm starting to just lean into saying SmackDown's good, which I've not really properly said for a wee while. I mean, we've got that, the Intercontinental title picture's looking really good. Bayley and Bianca Belair is going to be really good. So the women's division, there's still some bits and pieces that aren't going to be great, but you know what? For the meat of the show is, for me, good. And then there's things to be excited about that are coming up. You know, Alistair Black's going to start making his way into SmackDown way. Mia Yim is supposed to be making a debut. She was due to make the debut last night, and it
Really?
didn't happen. Yeah, so Mia Yim was supposed to debut on SmackDown, but it didn't happen for reasons we don't know why. I don't know if they just changed their mind or whatever, but things like that were supposed to happen. So you know, there's potential in this SmackDown, and it's only hopefully only going to get better if they just kind of keep the blinkers on a little bit. You know, like Raw's a bit all over the shop, not good shows. They're really bad shows that Raw are putting out right now, and then you've got SmackDown that are just smooth and steady, just coasting into Backlash with not a lot of effort. They're not really doing anything massive. They're just kind of having nice little story beats every week's something to watch. It's worthwhile. Your time's being rewarded. You know, we had some fun matches tonight, but then you had a long form story from beginning to the end about Jimmy Uso and his involvement in Roman Reigns. You know, we built up matches like the Belair Bailey match. That's going to set up Backlash. For better or worse, the Reginald match set up something, you know. Then the 10-man tag match, you've got a couple of teams that are in the tag division. Your IC title fatal 4-way potentially is going to be there. So everyone's got a highlight in SmackDown. Everyone's got a part to play. There's no bit parts. There's no wasted minutes on this show for the most part. You know, everyone has something to bring to the table, which is good. Well worth my 2 hours. I'm happy with that. I was satisfied.
I agree.
Hope long may it continue. I don't know if I can fully trust them to keep it going for too long, but you know what? They've won me since WrestleMania. They've not put a foot wrong.
Right.
I can confidently say that they've been spot on the dot for me.
I will agree with you. I can't argue 100% on that. You know, it was, you know, from WrestleMania, they have done an incredible job of making sure that they are getting things situated.
Yeah.
You know, it is a good storytelling. It's clean. It's clear. It is designed, you know, looking like in a great way to have. I guess the way I would say it is they're starting to tell good stories.
Yeah.
And you know, that are clear, simple, to the point, and not overly just, you know, crazy.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what I like about it. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, to close off this review, in a sense, it's like it's somewhat fitting that we got a retro SmackDown, because a lot of what made SmackDown good back then is what's happening now. Like the best elements of the creative and storytelling aspects of it are here to see. Like we've got the vibes of that old SmackDown. So in a sense, it's almost like recognizing that we are a SmackDown, because it felt like a SmackDown of old as well. It didn't. It wasn't just like another show. It felt like that kind of show you would get back in 2006, 2005.
Right.
And they done a good job of that. So yeah, I thought it's quite fitting when you think about it. All round comes around that we've got this SmackDown that was really good. So yeah, that was good. I'm quite happy with that. You how are you? Do you want to open your sack quickly before we head on out?
I have to get my sack unloaded
Rolls
before
have
this
time
wedding.
for the sack.
So, you know, especially before a wedding, you want to unload your sack before a wedding. So.
It's like you should do it first thing in the morning. Unload your sack. Just get it done. If you're in the chat, if you've got any questions, anything you want to talk about in the world of pro wrestling, the world of life, anything, get your comments in the next couple of minutes. And before we close on off, we're just about to finish up for the day. Good question from UTT Rob, as always. Gets a great question out here. As this week's SmackDown went retro, showing clips from SmackDown moments of you eat. Oh, no grammar. Damn it, I just had an Anchorman moment. You know that bit where he's like reading the auto prompter and he's like, good morning, San Diego. Like that weird. At that moment. We fucked up the auto prompt. I'll start that again. I got ahead of myself. As this week's SmackDown went retro, showing clips from classic SmackDown moments, if you could recast each one of those classic moments, well, maybe not each one, but if you could recast one of those moments with members of the current roster, which moment would you pick and who would you choose? Tough, because most of them were kind of like iconic in their own way.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. Although, I will pick one out of the fucking blue that's not on this show, and I wonder if you'll agree with me.
Okay.
I'll take you back to this time 21 years ago as we're setting up for another Backlash pay-per-view. The DX Express was a thing. A big old bus where DX used to sit in. And Stone Cold Steve Austin one night decided to blow that fucker up. Now, could you imagine if Roman Reigns and his crew had a bus? Like, I would have Roman Reigns, the Usos, and Paul Heyman have that bus, and that'd be their thing. And then a sacked Daniel Bryan be the guy to use like the deconstruction like crane to blow the bus up while they're in the ring having this weird reunion stuff. That'd be what I would do. I think that's what I'd go for.
Okay.
Not quite the ones that we've seen, but you know what? Out of SmackDown moments in my head, that's the one where I'm like, that's a big moment in SmackDown. That's one that people talk about forever. And I was like, the Reigns family tribe fit well with the DX Express bus idea, and then someone like Daniel Bryan, who's always been a thorn in his side and just a troublemaker in general, is the guy that just blows up the bus.
Yeah. Ooh. Man, this is a tough one. I don't know how I would do it. I mean, the only thing that comes to mind, and it's only because of, because we saw it last night, and thank God for that. We're doing something similar to the grocery store with Stone Cold and Booker T, but who?
Would you do it with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn?
You could do that. I would love to see Cesaro and Roman Reigns. To be honest with you. Roman's like grocery shopping, like getting stuff for the family, for a barbecue or whatever. And Cesaro just beats the shit out of him in the grocery store. But like maybe not necessarily at a grocery store. Maybe it's something else. Maybe they're at, something or just something different. But getting out of the arena, going somewhere, doing something along those lines. Because to me, I loved it when they did things outside the arena. When they filmed those prepackaged things that they did outside the arena, it made it much more enjoyable rather than just like building a fake room in the arena to do that kind of stuff. To me, it made no sense. So I liked that prepackaged stuff where they would do stuff like the, even the Mr. Perfect, commercials that they would do, where they were out and about at golf courses and tennis courts and baseball and all those things. To me, those are great. So do something along those lines of that, Stone Cold, Booker T event, where you're out somewhere and two guys just go at it and they just tear stuff up. And then you just be like, okay, here's 50 grand. Sorry about that. And then you just got to walk out. And, and it was just, it's one of those things where you make something fun and enjoyable out of it. I think that's what we need is something along those lines. But they're just so stuck in the bubble of being in, because this is pre-pandemic, that's the whole point. Like the whole Maria and Mike thing of, pipe drape and they're at the doctor, but they're at the arena. We know they're at the arena. It's not even beginning to look like a doctor's office, stuff like that. Go out and do something and you have that. Roman Reigns is with his wife and kids at the doctor's appointment, and they come through and they just tear up a doctor's office in the waiting room, and they just go through the different places, stuff like that. Have fun with it. Go out, film, be that creative person that you were. So that's what I would do, I guess.
Yeah, those are good. I like those. Yeah. That's quite fun. I always like these sort of questions. Like UTT Rob throws out these sort of like out the way questions that are just like, like you got to really think about it. Those like recasting SmackDown superstars into normal things or A Team or whatever. I'm enjoying that. Right. I still think my Survivor Series team's well better than yours though.
No.
General Aziz currently unbeaten and untouched. There's no beating him. You're humped.
But he from a storyline perspective. Properly. He can't hold a spear properly.
That's what he wants you to think. He's not holding that. We talked about it. He's ready to just wreck someone's foot and just call a match off. Like, bam! Kevin Owens, you want to take that super kick? Bam! You ain't doing shit, son. Your foot's destroyed. That's all it takes. He's a smart man. That's why he's a general. Or commander.
He's a commander.
Well, what are the two?
Don't screw up military stuff in front of me, sir.
Oh, well, not. But yeah, but a good show all round. Fun Smack Attack. Thanks for tuning in. As always, we are kind of in the process of developing Hammy Media Group. There are chats and we have discussions of things that are going to be moving forward. That's not for me to tell you, but there will be some things coming in the near future. Hopefully, the Smack Attack will be along with that for the ride as well, which is great. We'll always be here on YouTube. I think that's going to be our home for the next wee while as well. Smack Attack on the Hammy Media Group YouTube, so you can get in touch with us here. Go on Twitter at SmackAttackHMG or email us smackattackhammymedia@gmail.com. Anything you want to talk to us about. We love opening the mail sack. We love talking about wrestling. We love talking about life, food, football, politics. We've talked about it all on this show, really, and we love it. We love just having a chat on a Saturday. It makes up for a lot of the mundane life that we have to live normally. So be a part of that. Join us on that one there. So get involved in that. Follow our friends at Fighter Fans site on Twitter. Fighterfans.com is the website. So go and check out stuff. The Combat Sports Vertical, they do MMA, boxing, pro wrestling. We're there as well. They share our shows out on the website now and again as well, which is great. Love the support that they're doing. Much appreciated for the time you do that there. Jackson Stone, who will be coming on the show, confirmed before this show that John's in charge of that now because I'm an arse. My life's I've just been working to the bone for the past 2 weeks, so that ruined my life.
Yeah. That gives me freedom to book other people too. So yeah, we're gonna start having guests. So we're doing that, and also
I can see like April Hunter getting like 1 million like entries on this now. Like,
yeah, well,
I see your Twitter game.
Yeah, we'll see. But but also in speaking with Jackson Stone and You Are Loved, May is also Mental Health Awareness Month. So it ties really, really well with that. So if you haven't gone checked out his stuff before, do so now. Go see what he's doing to promote mental health awareness and advocacy and good mental health. And if you need help, there's all kinds of resources. If you need help and you want to talk to someone you trust and you feel like I'm that person, then you can always email me, john@freedomhousepc.org, and I would be glad to talk to you and help you figure out what it is you need to do. Now, if you email me there, we're not going to talk wrestling. We're not going to talk Academy or Star Trek or anything along those lines. We're just going to talk your mental health and what we can do to help you. Because mental health is important. And as we've seen with this pandemic, that the real pandemic is our mental health and how poor it is. And so we want you to be healthy. We want you to be happy. We want you to be here with us and listening to us for a long, long time. Yeah. So get that done. Check out Jackson Stone's You Are Loved project and everything that's going on there. He has so many stories on there from YouTube that you can go check out other people's stories so that you know you're not alone. He has all kinds of encouraging, positive ways you can get a hold of him. You can get a weekly email from him. You can sign up and text him and get daily affirmation messages from him, and he will respond to them. He responds to those as well as he responds to the ones of his where I get to text him personally and be like, "Hey, bro, what's up?" And so he responds that way too. That's a flex. It's a flex. So
you're allowed, though. You're allowed.
Yeah, I'm allowed to flex a little bit. But you can do that. He has stuff where or he gives you good mental tips and things along those lines in that phone number. So go check it out, man. It's really cool. Find him on Instagram and Twitter at JacksonStone_, and really just see what he's all about. And if you're in the Texas area and you want to see him wrestle, you could do that and come see him wrestle. Or if you have a wrestling promotion in your area and you want to see Jackson Stone in your area, because he does travel, he's been to Colorado, he's been all over the world. He wrestled in Germany at WXW and learned under Walter, and for a little bit. He said Walter was just leaving when Jackson came in, so he was there. He's traveled all over the world and wrestled all over the place. So if you want your promotion to have him, man, have your promotion reach out. He's a great guy to have on your show. So that's my love for Jackson Stone, especially with Mental Health Awareness Month. So make sure you're going to check him out and everything that he's got going on there. You can also follow him on YouTube, Jackson Stone, and see his stuff there as well. So, all right, I'm done with that plug-in.
Yeah. Good plugs, good show, good times, good day. Hope you have a great day, whatever you're doing. Enjoy yourself. Thanks for being part of the show. Thanks for watching. Get in touch with us. We look forward to seeing you next week. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we'll talk to you again next week for another edition of the Smack Attack.